Hello everyone, my name is Jordan, also known as Scraps, and today I will be teaching you this CanCan stab. The reason why I call it that is because it simply resembles something maybe Birdy Nam Nam can use, or maybe a hard Pluck, or even something Zomboy might make. It's very different, has kind of more of a wah-wah sound to it, and it's completely different from anything that I've made so far. So have a listen to this demo example, and I'll show you how to create it here in a minute. Kind of gives us that rich, warm feeling. So I'm going to create a new Reason document and set the BPM to 140 and take down my mixer. So one of the things I love to do is to create a combinator. What that does is it tidies everything up in a nice clean package. There are three different ways to get a combinator. You can hold down Control and get the creative menu. This is where you can find all your instruments, studio effects, and utilities. Our combinator is going to reside in utilities. Another way to get this menu is to right-click and go to utilities as well. Then we have our final option, which is hitting F8. This brings up the tool window where you can browse to your devices. Just drag one out, and there you go. So inside this combinator, I'm going to go to my instruments and create a blank instance of Maelstrom. I'm going to first attack the mod wheel and all of its settings. Then I'm going to attack the mod A, mod B, oscillator A, and oscillator B. Then finally our routings, our shaper, and our filters. So for mod wheel, I'm going to set my index to -18. Now, if you can't get those finite numbers, you just hold down Shift while you're dragging it down. After this, I'm going to go to my shift and I'm going to bring it down 2 octaves, so -24 decibels. I'm sorry, -24 for the pitch. Then for the filter, I'm going to take it down to -42. And finally, for our mod A and mod B, I'm going to do the mod A first. I'm going to set my rate to sync. I'm sorry, I'm going to turn on sync. Then I'm going to set my rate to about, I think it's 3/8. No, it's 2/4. 2/4. I'm going to bring my pitch down -15. And I'm going to bring up my index to +12. And the shift, I'll leave it right there in the middle. So for my oscillator B, I'm going to turn on one shot and sync, and I'm going to have it to a rising down saw, a curve 11. I'm going to set the rate to, I think it's 1/8, no, it's 3/16. And I'm going to turn up my filter all the way. And that will do it for mod B. For our oscillator A, I'm going to set it to a VSW wave. I'm going to set the index at 45. 45. Haha. Hold shift if you can't get the finite numbers. And I'm going to bring my motion all the way down to -64. I'm going to take it down an octave, and that's it. I'm going to turn on my second oscillator, and I'm going to set it to a sawtooth. I'm going to bring it up an octave. I'm going to set the motion all the way down, the shift up 12, and that will do it. Now for the routing, I'm going to turn on my oscillator A to shaper, make sure shaper is on. I'm going to turn my oscillator B on, routing to filter B. I'm going to take my frequency all the way down, and for the shaper and the sine, just leave it where it is. I'm going to take my filter A all the way down, and that should do it for our synth. And there you guys have it. So now just to master it. So I'm going to go to my Studio Effects and create an RV7000. Bring the dry wet down to 18 and the decay down to 26. After this, I'm going to go down in Studio Effects and create a Line 6 bass amp. After this, actually I'm just going to turn on the compressor, bring the threshold down to 77. After this, I'm going to go to my Creative Effects and choose Screen 4 Distortion. I'm going to leave the distortion in the middle. I'm going to take my Type 2 tape, and I'm going to bring P1 to 83 and P2 to 83 as well. Turn on the body, set the resonance all the way to 86, the scale down to about 4, and the auto, let's bring that all the way up to 7. Set it to Type B. We're done for the Screen 4. After this, go to Studio Effects and create a Line 6 bass amp. Turn on the compressor. Then after this, I'm going to go back to my Studio Effects and choose a soft tube saturation. I'm going to set it to low and bring the saturation to about 2.2. Then after this, I'm going to create 2 M-class equalizers. And for my first EQ, I'm going to turn on low cut and P1. P1, I'm going to take the frequency down to 309.9 Hertz. Hold shift again if you can't get those finite numbers. Bring the gain down, the Q all the way up, because we totally want to duck out the frequency. Then for our second parameter, I'm going to set it to 76.6 Hertz. Don't forget to turn it on. Bring the gain all the way down, the Q all the way up. For my second EQ, I'm going to turn on P1. I'm going to set the frequency to about 378.4 Hertz. Bring the gain down, the Q all the way up. After this, I'm going to go turn my P2 all the way to 4,000 or 4.7407. Or, yeah, 4.47. Let's see. Hold shift. Yeah, there we go. Bring the gain down and the Q all the way up. After this, create from our Studio Effects, let's create an M-class maximizer. Take it off limiter, put on soft clip, and put the release to auto. And for the soft clip, leave that at 127. And there you guys have it, your very own CanCan stab synth. And I'll check you guys out on Monday for another amazing tutorial. Peace.